Entrevistado por Euronews, el responsable de Políticas y Recursos de la City de Londres, Hayward, asegura que es hora de olvidar definitivamente toda la cuestión del Brexit y mirar hacia adelante, por el bien de todas las partes.
I actually think Prime Minister Sunak now has taken a very positive approach to the EU, as has our Chancellor, Jeremy Hunt. So I think, those days are past. I talk about a painful divorce. It was a painful divorce. But I think, we have to now get trust back, because the opportunities for both the EU and the UK, by trading together, by working together, far outweigh those conflicts.
But I suppose, is it over for the UK, given that you have a sort of stubbornly high inflation rate, which people like Mark Carney are saying was a direct result of Brexit?
Let's be clear, some of these issues you've talked about are common across Europe. So high inflation isn't peculiar to the UK, nor high interest rates. We're all affected by the geopolitical issues that are affecting our economies at the present time. The one thing I think we need to do in the UK, and I think the EU as well, frankly, is to drive economic growth. We haven't had a lot of economic growth over the past few years, and we need to get growth back into the system. And I think EU countries are finding the same challenge as well.
Well, then does that not mean that the UK is better off in something like the European Union? When you look at the US, the way it has its Inflation Reduction Act, and the EU, where you can work together as 27 member states, you just look at the COVID Recovery Fund and various other funds that happened throughout COVID. The UK doesn't. The UK is an outlier because of the supply issues, the cost of supply. It's at the end of the supply chain. It's not just a global issue, is it?
Look, I regret us not being in the single market. I think to not be in the single market was a mistake, and I'll always think it was a mistake. But I do think that the opportunities now for us are that we have to now compete on the world stage. We have to stand alone. We're capable of standing alone. I think we'd have been better standing within the EU, but we now have to seize those opportunities that are available to us.
How do you see standing alone and having growth? Does that mean driving down regulation, social dumping, all that kind of thing?
No. So first of all, we don't want to deregulate. Let me be absolutely clear. High quality regulation, financial regulation, is really important to getting inward financial investment from across the world. So that's actually very important to us. Getting growth is about getting investment growth into the country. So it's stimulating our fintech sector, for example.
Just final question, because, it may not be over for some people. 62% of people would like to rejoin. Would you relish a second referendum or, even a conversation about that?
Personally, no. I think not in my lifetime. I think we have now taken a decision. There has been a referendum. Of course, you could always argue, would that swing the other way if we did it again now? I think we've now set a course for ourselves, which we now have to follow.
Okay, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you very much indeed.
Thanks, Chris.